Hello, Ravens. Today you're going to learn the difference between formative and summative assessments. Learning something new is like a journey. It's a good idea to know where you're headed. How else will you know when you've arrived? In this picture, the journey is climbing a mountain. The summit, our goal, is called the learning target. The learning target identifies what you should know and be able to do at the end of the lesson. Once you know where you're headed, you'll need to ask, how do I get there? What's the route? I need a roadmap. In learning, instruction and practice is your roadmap. Follow the directions to get to the summit. If you've ever been on a long trip, you've probably asked, are we there yet? Formative assessments answer the question, where am I now compared to where I want to end up? Am I there yet? Formative assessments can take any form. They can be notebook entries, entrance or exit slips, quizzes, conferences, homework assignments, any type of evidence of learning. They help the teacher and you know where you are compared to where you want to end up. If you're not at the end yet, the teacher or your peers or you yourself can give feedback about what you're doing well and also what your next steps are. Feedback is designed to help you make progress towards your goal. This poor dog has been given an assessment that he's a bad dog, but the poor dog isn't getting any feedback. What does he need to do to be a good dog? Feedback should help you figure out your next steps. After lots of instruction and probably at least 2 formative assessments, you'll have the summative assessment at the end of the unit or learning cycle. The purpose is to show that you've met the learning goal. In a perfect world, everyone in the class meets the goal. But we know not everyone learns at the same pace, and maybe you were just having a bad day when you took the assessment. Even on summative assessments, you can always redo them. Get some feedback, do more practice, and try the assessment again. The rubric is a table with rows and columns, and it lays out for you what you need to do to succeed on the assignment. You want to meet or exceed standard. You look at the rubric before starting the assignment and along the way to see how close you are to the goal. The teacher uses it to grade the assignment in the end. Let's look at a copy of a sample gradebook. Both formative and summative assessments may be listed in the source, but only summative assessments average into your grade. This means that if you don't start off doing well on formative assessments, but you improve over time and have reached the learning goal by the time of the summative assessment, you'll do well. Your quarter or semester grade will be the average of all of your summative assessments. Let's look at this person's source. They've had several formative assessments. Each entry shows the date of the assignment, a brief description of the skill, plus a Common Core standard, that's the RL 6.1. It says formative or summative, for formative or sum for summative. It says how many points they're worth, and they can be weighted. That matters for summative assessments. It says whether the score was exceeding standard, meeting standard, approaching standard, or for MI is missing, and the percentage that is assigned to that level of achieving standard. Approaching standards 70%, meeting standards 85, exceeding standards 100, just starting is 55. Also, it shows the letter grade corresponding to that percent per the Seattle School District policy. This student received marks on formative assessments of AS, MS, and ES, and then one was missing. There's just 2 summative assessments here, though, and that's all that the grade is based on. There will be more than that in an actual quarter, including writing standards. But here, the summative assessments get averaged. The average of 100% and 85% is 92%. So that's the student's grade. Summative assessments can be weighted, and some count more than others, but these were both worth 10 points, so they're equally weighted in this grade. Okay, Ravens, time to self-assess. Do you know and understand the difference between formative and summative assessments? Do you know how you can use them to advance your learning? Rate yourself on the following rubric. If you're not meeting or exceeding standard, please think about what you do know and what didn't make sense to you. Please follow up with your teacher with questions about what didn't make sense. Thanks for listening.